The company was founded 3.5 years ago by a group of experienced business people, experienced in creation of new businesses, in precision instrumentation, in animal hygiene, health and welfare, and in precision livestock farming, which is the application of modern technologies to livestock farming. We are now 18, it says 16, but we are now 18. We are based near Barcelona in Spain. And that's, reason why I brought mandarins, but wait, you're 10 minutes, remember. We have a big task in front of us. We want to help to make the livestock industry both more practical and more acceptable by the use of precision methods, so by the application of modern technology. So we want to try to convince the livestock industry to not use the animal as an exploitable resource, but to consider the animals as a perhaps short-lived partner in their business. We are exclusively dedicated to poultry right now, and more specifically to broilers. So let's take a look at broilers. We produce about 60 billion of them on the planet every year, 3 billion of which never make it through the process because they fall ill and die. They gobble up 250 million tons of feed every year, 3 million of which we could easily save if we had better digestion management. Some of them suffer bruises and scratches in the farm, and they're not apt for human consumption. We could save 300 million lives from dying this wasteful death if only we had better stress management. We are FAROMATICS, the creators of the Chicken Boy, the worldwide first ceiling suspended robot that monitors animal welfare and helps farmers increase farm productivity at the same time. We hang our robot, as you can see here or here, we hang our robot from a rail from the ceiling. So right now in the latest versions, we're doing this with a monorail, as you can see on the left-hand side. And the robot then zigzags through the chicken house, based on the rail system. The big advantage of using rails is that we get access to the full flock from the very first day to the very last day without any kind of problems. And this is what we see. The robot by default has 3 camera sets, one on the top for overview and 2 at the bottom left and looking downwards. And we can also install a camera on the right-hand side. So we get a lot of pictures of chickens, as you can see here, from different perspectives. The robot then transmits a data package after doing its edge computing thing. It transmits a data package every 15 minutes to the cloud, where we have a cloud system that then analyzes the data, prepares it for visualization, and sends out alerts in case of abnormal situations. The robot is completely autonomous, so we don't want any kind of maintenance to happen within a flock of birds. And we are monitoring 3 areas. We're monitoring ambient conditions, we're monitoring health and welfare, and we're monitoring equipment failures using multiple sensors, but first and foremost, artificial intelligence, deep learning, and big data. So what we're doing more specifically right now with our first version of the robot that is going to be commercialized now in the beginning of the year, we look at excrement, the excrement of chickens, sorry for the topic, and we classify them in order to find early signs of intestinal diseases. This is a win-win-win. First of all, it's a win for the chickens because less of them fall ill if you can detect this early enough. And nobody likes to be ill, chickens included. Secondly, it's a win for the farmers because when you detect this early enough, you can often deal with it with acids, so putting some acids in the drinking water, so with alternative methods to antibiotics, which saves both mortality and also cost. And in the end of the day, if this is the tool in the toolbox to produce antibiotic-free, then of course this is also a win for the consumer because we have less risk of antimicrobial resistance. We also recognize dead animals, and that is very helpful to make sure that the farm is free of sources of infections. So particularly useful in the morning after, in theory, the farm is cleared of dead animals, to make sure that it really is cleared, because if you leave one animal lying around, then it will probably lie there for a total of 36 hours or so, and that is certainly a problem infection-wise. We detect wet spots on the litter. That's important because the chickens develop an illness of the foot that's called pododermatitis, and that is not only penalized at some of the slaughterhouses, but it also generates lameness for the chickens. And lameness can, in certain circumstances, also lead to death because it hurts too much and they just stop going to drink or to feed. Not very nice. We detect defective drinkers, so we find those nipple drinkers that are blocked or those that are dripping. That's very helpful for the farmers because there are a lot of them, so there are about 3,000 in a typical farm. So if you have to review each and one of them, that's a lot of work to do. So, and it's good for the chickens because they get access to enough water if they're blocked, or we can help avoid problems with the litter if these are dripping. In ambient conditions, we do produce maps like the ones that you can see on the left-hand side. So that's like looking from the top on your farm, and we're looking at thermal sensation or thermal comfort, and we're looking at air quality. So in thermal comfort, we're measuring temperature, relative humidity, and airspeed to get something like a subjective temperature for the chicken. And then air quality, we're measuring CO2 out of the box, and we're experimenting now with ammonia sensors. We can stream, so you can look into your farm anytime that you want from anywhere in the world. It depends, of course, a bit on the transmission speed of the internet on the farm, which sometimes is a problem. So if the bandwidth is very low, then you will just get a series of pictures rather than really a movie. But we can also take photographs, so at any point in time or space. So you can tell us, every 5 meters I want to photograph, or every 2 minutes, or at this specific time or space point, or on these particular moments. So whenever you see a dead bird, take a picture, please, or whenever you see a bed dropping, take a picture so I can send it to my vet. And we have alerts, about 15 of them right now. These alerts go directly to the farmers' mobile phones in any kind of abnormal situation that the farmers have configured before. But the really cool thing, this is all technology, it's very fancy and very, very exciting, a lot of fun to do. But the really exciting thing is that we actually make more money for the farmer. So the investment in animal welfare actually makes more money, 60,000 euros over 5 years, because we help with the digestion management, because we detect diseases earlier, because we produce or reduce mortality, we can help fine-tune climate controls, and we have the reduction of the bruises and the scratches. The financial payback is not a single source. So labor savings are part of it, but there's a lot of other small contributions to that payback that help us get to this. So this is, the mortality and the health costs and the productivity and the meat and quality and the energy costs that contribute to this. The technology that we have is very versatile. So we can apply it to 1.3 million animal houses worldwide. This creates a 9 billion euro market. We heard another figure, 11 billion. So I think we are probably, in the same space. This market is nicely growing with latest projections are actually 1.8% annual growth for the next decade as predicted by OECD and FAO. We are currently in 5 European countries. We want to be in 6 by the end of next January. And we have closed a distribution deal with Big Dutchman, one of the largest players in the space of AgTech for pig and poultry in particular. That deal gives us access to 174 countries worldwide. So we're sure to be hopping around, this is a global business. For this work, we have received a number of rewards, for which we, of course, are very thankful and very proud of with the team. We have also received about 2 million euros in investment so far. We are opening an investment round now, so if you're interested in looking at this as an investment opportunity, then please make sure that you talk to me. And I have been very fast, so I still have a little bit of time for questions. I thank you very much, and I will now resolve the mystery of the mandarins. Anyone who asks a question, I know it's difficult, but anyone who asks a question will get a mandarin from me, directly from Spain. Thank you very much.
Can the master of ceremony have a mandarin?
Oh yeah, absolutely,
All right, that's
absolutely,
great.
no question.
No, just joking. Reserve it for the audience. All right, yeah, we have a little less than 4 minutes, so questions, yes, in the middle of the room. Up there, yes. No, there's a mic coming.
Given the cost of the setup, is there a minimum size of the operation that is practical?
Well, we are talking about intensive poultry production. So I would say that anything below 15,000 chickens in a house is going to be much more difficult. The paybacks that I've shown you, they are calculated on 6 cycles of 40,000 chickens.